Hello and welcome to Viral Beast. My name is David and today I'll be going through some of the best stories from Reddit. I'll be posting 3 times a week, so hit that like, subscribe and comment below. So without further ado, let's get into our first story. To start out, I do not work nor have ever worked in retail, and I have never worked any place where I was required to conduct any customer service, so this story is a little different. So I grew up in the West, running around the Rocky Mountains ever since I can remember. I love the outdoors and nature's diversity. As a result, I know a lot about animals and their behaviours. I also paid attention to my biology classes in school. When I was a youth, from 6 to 16 years old, which is about 50 years ago, the world was a different place. My mum would tell us to go outside and play. I would run into the mountains and be gone all day. They were literally our backyard. No, I am not a hillbilly, and I have never met nor do I know the Clumpets. Anyway, wrong mountain, there's hills. Coming home, when the sun would start to set for dinner. So needless to say, I know a lot about the outdoors. Later in life, I chose a career that kept me outside. This incident was back in the mid-90s, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. The dum still rings in my ears, like tinnitus. I worked for a certain land agency. All references to this place and items are obscured to protect the innocent. So I got a call that something needed to be looked at immediately. I jumped in my truck and headed out. As I am getting ready to turn off the service road and onto the main highway, a Suburban veered onto the service road, nearly hitting me. Their truck pretty much cuts me off from entering the main road. They almost caused an accident with another vehicle as they performed their Dukes of Hazzard stunt. As soon as their vehicle came to a sliding stop, the driver's window unrolled. Now, Karen wasn't a thing back then, and I'm not sure if the first Karen had been sighted yet. But here she was, caged in a vehicle, already seething. I could tell this was going to be an experience I would never forget. I should state that this is extremely obvious that I did work there. My truck was plastered with a huge logo on the side, not to mention the license plate. So I unrolled my window, and this is how the conversation went. So I said, "Can I help you?" Thinking this flipping idiot can't drive. Karen, leaning from the passenger side to the driver's side, making her husband become part of his seat. "Can you help us with a question?" she said. No, I kid you not. She yelled this at me. No hello, no please, nothing. This lady was blonde, early 30s, bob haircut, large sunglasses, nearly covering her cheeks, the works, and a growl in her face that would scare a bear. Maybe it was from listening to her kids scream in the back of the seat. Don't know. Anyway, the next character is the dumb husband. He said, "Yeah, we need help." He was squished up in his seat, trying to be heard over the kids, and he was muffled talking through his wife's sweaty armpit. So I said, "Yeah, more than you can afford. Sure, what is your question?" Karen says, "When do deer become elk?" So I'm thinking, how dumb can you be? Did you climb the idiot tree and hit every branch as you fell down? Did your brains not follow you out of the birth canal? Were they thrown away, mistaken as placenta? Are you smart enough to drive? Obviously not. In a matter-of-fact tone, I replied, "They don't." I was proud of myself for not laughing, and actually keeping a straight face. Karen replied, growling, "Yes they do, I know it." I said I couldn't believe the question. It is causing me to wonder about my whole existence, my upbringing. I can assure you they don't. They are 2 different species. They don't even crossbreed, unlike you and your armpit-sniffing husband. Poor guy, I thought. The kids were still screaming in the back seat. Karen replies, "No, you're lying. I saw it in the Discovery Channel. Now tell me, when?" To this day, I cannot listen to that song. You know the one, "Let's do it like they do in the Discovery Channel." They ruined it, and the song wasn't even written yet. The dumb husband replies in a tone, "Yeah, we watch the Discovery Channel." So I replied thinking, man, you are whipped and stupid to boot. Maybe it was the odorific smell meeting his nostrils and shrinking a few brain cells left in his skull. I can assure you that they do not. You must have misunderstood the show. I surprised myself that I wasn't speaking my thoughts. That is a rarity for me. But I was genuinely trying to be helpful for once. Karen says, "Are you calling me stupid?" The shriek is still hovering in the mountains to this very day, and can be heard as an echo between the canyons if you really listen. The husband sits there with a blank stare of, she is always right. Look, as she moved backwards to force her words out at a faster pace, trying to make them break the sound barrier or something. Me, "Yes, ma'am, I am." But instead I replied, "Nope." If I thought she was loud before, she is now screaming at me. Karen says, "What is so hard about this? Just tell me when deer turn into elk." The kids in the back seat finally shut up. So I said, now I had been paying attention to the traffic and noticed that there was a clear spot coming up, and that I could just squeeze between their car and the stop sign. So I put the truck in first gear, looked at her, shook my head. Any patience I had was now gone, and yelled, "Fine, August," and drove off. I knew that they would have to drive a bit to get turned around, and then wait for traffic. I did keep an eye on the road behind me for the mile I needed to go before turning into the place that I could lose them. I never saw them again, but I can imagine her telling all her friends that all the deer turn into elk in August. Education by television, at its best. Stupid people. I work at a somewhat large gas station. While we're given a jacket with the store logo on it, there are 8 cashiers, and even if COVID wasn't a thing, that's just not sanitary. Our normal uniform is a pair of black pants and a bright polo with the store logo on it, so it was pretty cold yesterday, and I was wearing my hoodie because the store is built very cheaply and isn't insulated. The ceiling is just bare metal. I was sitting in a chair for a couple of minutes by the eating area, because it was pretty slow, when I saw a car pull in. So I went back to behind the counter, and here comes a delusional lady. She walked up to the counter and asked, "Excuse me, where's the cashier?" I replied, "You're looking at him, what can I do for you?" She replies, "I come here every morning, and I've never seen you. You don't even have the uniform." Now the reason that's relevant is that I always work late evenings, so I've never seen this lady in my life. I probably haven't been awake before 2 PM in a year. I said, "Oh, sorry about that. It's just cold in here, and the heat doesn't really work." So I took off my hoodie to prove to this lady that I did, in fact, work here. She then pulled out her phone, and 2 other customers walked in, and a line formed behind her. This lady replied, "This guy doesn't work here. I think he's stealing. I'm calling the police." As she walked off to the sitting area and dialed for the police. Meanwhile, I guess the other 2 people realised she was an idiot and let me ring them up. She watched the entire time, telling the police I was pocketing the money. When they arrived, we ended up having to call my manager to the store to explain that I did, in fact, work there. They let her off with a warning and banned her from the store. The police wouldn't let the store stay open for the entire hour it took the manager to get there. I was never detained, as it was obvious I worked there, but they insisted on talking to the manager. And did I mention I'm the assistant manager? Ugh. This happened in 1984 when my first wife was driving us broke. I got a part-time job at the Orange Home Improvement Store. I asked to be put in the paint department, and they obliged. One day a couple in their late 20s, early 30s came in. They said they were having problems with mould in the bathroom. They had an old house. I advised them to use the exterior gloss or semi-gloss paint, because exterior paint has the mildewcide, but interior paints don't. No, this was before kitchen baths enamels. The husband told me that interior paints do have the mildewcide. I thought this guy might know a little about paint. So I explained that the interior paints have a preservative, which keeps the water-based paints from spoiling in the can, but not a mildewcide. He still insisted that interior paints have the mildewcide. He grabbed a can of interior paint, pointed to the ingredients list and said, "See, ammonia, that's a mildewcide." I calmly replied that the ammonia is in there just to adjust the pH and evaporates before the paint dries. I cut short his reply, which started with, "You can tell me." I held up my finger and said, "Actually, I can tell you. This is my part-time job. Here's my full-time job." I pulled out my business card. I read my name, Senior Research Chemist, Coatings Laboratory, Major Chemical Company. I just remember his wife speaking up, saying to her husband, "You think you know so much." And at this stage they walked away while he followed after his wife. Alrighty guys, that's it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed that, because I certainly did. We have more stories coming Monday, Wednesday and a Friday. So don't forget to hit that like, subscribe and the bell icon. Enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.